So this is the Q&A session for the SNARS monthly meeting about parks in the air and summits in the air for Woody. And then if there's any questions later on just about general ham radio or SNARS, we can answer it. We'll go for about 40 minutes until 10 a.m. Local time. So we're recording this, and this is Barry K6ST. Let me set it up that anybody can ask a question by opening their microphone. So give your call sign. And Woody, you can just leave it up for now, the screen. And who has a question or a comment? Come with your call sign.
KJ7 Golf Echo Zulu.
Hey, Jerry, go ahead.
Hey, Woody, excellent presentation. I do POTA on a limited basis, but I always get confused with what they call the late shift, because you know out here we can only go till what, 3. It's a 24-hour period, right? And then it goes into the next day, and those don't count for the day prior. What is the late shift, and how do you get around all that?
You don't have to do anything, man, Jerry. This is great. The late shift simply means that at 23:59, 59, at the end of the UTC day, when you start at 0001 hours, you are now in the late shift. So that means right now 4 o'clock our time. So if you make contact with anybody, you're really in the log for the next day. So it would be the 6th. If I was on the air this afternoon at 4 o'clock and I saw somebody that I wanted to talk to at say 3:50, I'd talk to them, get in the log, and then when I'm still on and they're still on at 4 o'clock, 4:01, I talk to them again, and now I'm in the late shift. And there's an award for the late shift. So there's a benefit to talking to these guys just after the turn of the next day. You get in the log and you also get an award for it. So POTA is all about awards, wallpaper if you want to print it and put it on your wall, but it's just mainly something for yourself to, see how you're doing. But that's a good question. It's not a problem at all. It's a benefit. Next.
Did it help you, Jerry?
Yes, it did, because it gets confusing, because if you go into the next day and say like you've only had 2, or I say you've had 8 contacts and you need 2 more at 4 o'clock, is my understanding that you're not really activated the park if you didn't get your 10, even though it's
right. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. So you need to get your 10 activations within one UTC day. And then at the turn of the next UTC day, you're starting all over again. So you can do that. You can stay at the same park beyond 4 o'clock and now get 10 more contacts, and now you've activated it again. Unlike SOTA, where you can only activate a summit once a year, you can activate a park entity every day. As soon as you go into the next day, you can start all over again. But that's a good point.
So it's really, do I understand this correct, Woody? It's really per 24-hour UTC day.
That's right. Exactly right.
And if you started to day 1 and at 4 o'clock Pacific time this time of year, or 5 o'clock after daylight savings time changes, you're at the next day. You're really at the next day, but there's a terminology called late shift, which really means you're still there today on our time, but tomorrow UTC, I think what you're saying.
That's right. And to expand on timing a little bit, remember that the good weather states are on the East Coast, on the Gulf Coast, and that's where the most park on the air locations are. Those guys are getting started at 9 in the morning. That's 6 in the morning our time. But on 20 meters, you're not going to have good propagation that early. But if you wait till 9 o'clock our time, you can talk to 20, 30 POTA activators throughout the day till noon. And then you get back on the air in the afternoon around 2 or 3 o'clock, and you can find, a few stragglers, but mainly it's the West Coast people, British Columbia people who are operating, and they're getting the late shift credits.
Hey, Woody.
Yes, sir.
Um,
Hey, Wes.
you was talking, how you doing, man? You was talking about some of the equipment you use, this, that, and the other. I noticed your board you say you took up to, and I don't know how big that is or how you carry it up in a back or you got straps on your back, whatever.
Yeah.
But some of the equipment that you got, it comes in handy because like I says,
Yeah.
wire around with these things here, kite winders.
Hey, all right.
They're lifesavers, man. I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
I got these things on my a bunch of things. I got them on my radials when I go out in the field. I got them on my guys when I go out in the field, and I said they just and I now on my guys, I got them actually ran through for them. So I just run them. They kind of I dangling out there, but all I do is break loose, break free, and the guy got them down, man. That's the best invention they ever come up with. I got these here from Buddy Pull, and good stuff, good strong, and great stuff.
You'll
But
never go back to winding wire around a tin can.
no, trust me, it's the best thing ever. What a lifesaver those things are.
Yeah.
With no tangles.
And I don't know if you can see the picture that I've got up in my screen.
I took it down. Go ahead and put it back up again.
Okay, let's see. I have to click on it and
click on share screen again.
Share screen and then share. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So what you can see here is my radio. It's a ICOM 7300. I put this in between the two front seats facing to the rear. I sit in the back seat of the car. I'm using headphones, Yamaha headset with a microphone, and here's the hand switch right here.
I don't think we're looking at the same one. We're looking at the SOTA results in the SOTA database.
Oh.
You got to stop it and go to the other screen. There we go.
Okay, whatever. So let's see if POTA pictures. Let's see if that works.
Nope, you're still on the other screen. Go ahead and pull it down and go to your other.
Okay.
There you go. Go to your other one.
All right. So
if you bring up the other screen, you should be good. The other monitor, the one or the two, whatever you got there. There you go. Let's see. Okay, now we see a 7300. Okay, go ahead and please continue.
All right. So what you see here is my entire POTA station. It's sitting in the back of my Forerunner. So up high here, you see a solar panel. This is a new one, Renogy makes. It's a very portable, lightweight, 50-watt solar panel. And that charges a battery, a 50-amp-hour battery that's in this orange box. And that keeps it charged all day long. And then my radio sits on the console facing the back seat, like I said, and I'm sitting back there with my headset. And I also use the same paddleboard as I do for SOTA with my little AME key on it. And then for the antenna, I have the antenna wire wrapped around a winder, which is the same antenna, exactly the same as I use for SOTA. So it's a number 22 Teflon covered wire, 66 feet long, with some wire with some strings attached to the end, so I can attach it to bushes or trees or whatever, so I can extend it out there. Here's my coax, and I use RG8 in this situation. It's heavier, but I don't have to carry it, so therefore I use bigger coax. And here is where my 49-to-1 Anon is. I put it in an electrical L thing, and I've got a couple of toroids that are stacked together, and my 47, actually it's a 7-to-1 winding ratio, a 49-to-1 impedance ratio that you get out of that. And this thing just works so good to provide the entire ham radio station on the in any park. And again, I can drive to a park anywhere in the state. We've got over 100 of them, and I can set up within 15 minutes and be on the air. So
using more power, more equipment, more battery for POTA, because you're luggable in the car, and less when you're on the SOTA.
Exactly, and 90% of the operators that you're going to talk to are east of the Mississippi, so you really need more power. and this is, you can operate QRP, and many people do, but it's going to be hard to break into the pileups. Pileups are rampant here, and you can just go and try it and see how much fun people are having operating pileups. Okay, guys.
Yeah, what size battery do you have, and what kind of battery for the
So it's
box?
I use I think it's a 40 amp hour battery, come to think of it. And it's, many people use a 20. If you're going to run a 100-watt radio, I suggest getting at least a 20 amp hour LiPo battery. And you put it in this box, and now you've got all the connections. It's safe, it's easy to carry, and so on. I can hook up my solar panel to one of these connectors on the top. It's a nice setup. The solar panel cost $80. The radio cost $1,000. Headphones 60. The box and battery were 350. So that's the price of an entire ham radio station. If you live in an HOA or an antenna restricted area, this is your way on the air. Every single day you can go out to any park in Reno in Washoe County, and you can set this up and sit there and make 50 contacts. So you don't have to be restricted from operating because you live in an apartment or whatever.
Hey, Woody?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I see. Now that's a 50-watt solar panel, you say?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Brand new.
Yeah, brand new. Yeah. Well, I mean, I use solar out in the world. I mean, I have a generator I use for my trailer now,
Yeah.
but I use solar. I got a. They don't make it no more, which is a shame because it's a very popular one. It was from Baino. It was 180 watt fold over. Fold in.
Yes, that's right.
And great. Because I'm doing the same setup you are. I got a box and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
but I got more power. I got a 12 volt 30 ampere, and
Right.
it works on my my tuner, my radio, even my computer. You know what I mean, for logging purposes. And but man, that's the kind of setup you got to have. You're going to go out there. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Like you said, one thing it's quiet, like you said. It's quiet.
You can talk to people. You can talk to DX because you can hear them.
That's right.
Normally the normal noise level blocks you out. Yeah. Thanks, you, Wes. I see Jerry has his hand up.
Yeah, I'd like to say too that I like the 2-fers and the 3-fers. And in our area, you can go to Buckland Station and you're right there on the Pony Express Trail. And you can operate and get 2 for the price of 1. So for every 1 contact you make elsewhere, you get 2 contacts. Woody, could you go over the 2-fers and stuff a little bit?
Yeah, the 2-fers and 3-fers are a lot of fun. We have some unique situations here. There's as Jerry said, you can go out to Buckland Station and you're right on the 50 area. And what you can do is you can get credit for the California National Historic Trail, for the Pony Express Trail, and for Buckland Station, because that would be called a 3-fer. So what you do is when you start activating, you set up, let's say you're going to be sending in a log, and let's say you're going to use a laptop just for the fun of it. You're going to use a laptop to make all your logging contacts for all the chasers that come at you. So what you want to do is you want to set up a log for, say, the Buckland Station Park. And then after you get done creating that ADI file, you then use your laptop to create another log with the Pony Express information on it. Let me see here. I can bring that up if I go back to, let me see. I was going to show you this, but I knew I was running out of time. There it is. So using the N3 FJP logging application, as of last Monday, a few days ago, those guys came up with a new template for us guys in POTA. And
we're not seeing it. You want to flip over to the other screen or close it and start again? We're still seeing your 7300 image. There we go.
Let's go.
He has two different screens he has to flip back and forth on.
I made it difficult for myself. Let's see.
No worries.
Let me see.
Excuse me, Woody, Bob Dickerson, W7BD. Just quick question while you're trying to do that. What brand of panel was that?
The logging program is an N3.
Solar panel.
Oh, the solar panel. It's made by Renogy, Renogy. It's their new panel. I think they only have one like it. It's flexible. You know, you can lay it right on the hood of your truck or car, and it stays right there. It's not a big, heavy thing with aluminum around it, which makes it heavy. I've got some of those too. But this is new, and it's really made for the guys in the POTA world. You can lay it on top of anything. It stays right there, and then you can just hook it up to your battery. And while you're operating, you're getting 3 amps of charging current into your battery continuously. So 3 amp hours over a period of, say, 3 hours is 9 amp replacement into your battery. How do you like that?
That's amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me see if I can go find this.
Thanks, Bob. Of course, the amount of amperage is, that's probably if you have full sun. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just lay it on the ground and, okay, let's try this again here.
Go ahead and give it a shot. Let's see what we see. Okay, now we see the N3FJP. Go ahead and explain
Okay,
this to us.
so logging in the world of POTA is only required using a logging program for who? Activators, POTA activators. SOTA activators, no. SOTA chasers, no. POTA chasers, no. You only need this for logging for a POTA activator. And you can use any logging program you want. They don't care. But a lot of people use N3FJP, and they give you information about it within the POTA website. If you look around, you'll see something about logging. And you can use a regular logging program, but it's got to be modified. It's got to be customized to include a couple of extra fields. Those fields are called MySigInfo and over here, SigInfo. So down at the bottom of this file, this screen that you see, you'll see what all that means. So for each park that you activate, you've got to submit a log file. That log file format name is at the bottom here. So here's one that I would submit. It would have my call letters at the 6-digit POTA reference number, K-0471. Remember, you got to put the hyphen in, and then a hyphen, and then the date code, the UTC date code for this date. So this date was July 17, 2021. You put the 2021 in the beginning, 07 for the month, 17 for the day, .ADI. You use the logging program N3FJP to make that, or any other logging program that has these two fields in it. These two fields are specific to POTA, and they're very important. So the one MySigInfo is your park reference number. MySigInfo up here, MySigInfo was K0471. Okay, and the other field is the SigInfo. So if you do a park to park, you're calling CQ, POTA, K1LB, somebody comes back and says, park to park. And you say, park to park, please come ahead of everybody else. And they call you, and they're operating at a park too. You need to know their call sign, and you put their call sign in here. I think I'm right with that. It's either their call sign. I'm just thinking, is it their call sign or is it their call? I think it's their call. Yeah, or the park number, their park number. Anyway, you need to have these two in there. You can go and check that out and validate what I'm saying here. And then you send an email with an attachment, with this file attached to the regional coordinator in the POTA world. And I didn't get time to go to it, but back in that very first POTA website that I went to, it will talk about your one of the menu items was your regional coordinators. So you email this file to get credit for the points to the regional coordinator. The regional coordinators are by regions. So we've got 10 regions in the US, right? 0, 1 through 9. My call is a K1 call. So I have to go to the 1 region, even though I'm operating in the West, even though I'm in Nevada, doesn't matter. You know, I'm located, you know, out of Buckland. That doesn't matter either. The fact that I am a K1 means that I send it to the W1 K1 regional coordinator. If you're a K7 call, you send it to the K7 regional coordinator. K6 call, you get the idea.
Woody.
That's the oddity of logging. Go ahead, Wes.
Yeah, right. N3FJP. I have that on my field computer as my backup for N1MM. Should something happen to that, is that on that?
Yeah, yeah. This new template is on there, so you don't have to set it up. So just here's what you do: is bring up N3FJP on your computer when we're done with this, okay? And what will happen is when you log in to it, it will see that you're a licensed, you know, owner of licensed software, and a screen will come up that will say, do you want to upgrade this? And you say, yeah. Do you want to upgrade this to version 7.04? And you say yes, and it just goes ahead and does it.
Wow.
And then it gives you instructions on how to go to the template. The template, once it's all done on your screen, look for the way that you go to and select the template under settings.
Gotcha.
And it will bring up this very screen.
Good. Now I can now get to use it instead of having a backup.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
That's very cool. That's really neat.
Right on. Thank you.
Thank you, man. What else you got for me?
Okay, I have a K6S. I have a question. So there's this question about that I've had other people ask me, and you're going to be the content expert on this.
Okay.
So on POTA, what determines the characteristics of a park on the air? Is it any park? Is it a certain park? Is it a state park? That's always a generic question that often people ask. Other than you go look on the list.
Okay, that's great. Well, when we did that first video with Jason on YouTube, he gave us some misinformation. He said that NPOTA, he said correctly that NPOTA was the genesis of Parks on the Air, and it was an ARRL program, and it was just national parks, U.S. national parks, in commemoration of the 100th anniversary of the National Park Service. And he said POTA, though, is all state parks. That's slightly wrong. The fact is, it's not only state and park entities, but it's also federal government park entities. So what does that mean? It means National Park Service, NPS parks. It means BLM land. It means I can't think of it. The most of the parks in the country. I'm doing a brain fart.
National Park? National Park?
No, not National Park.
Forest Service?
U.S. Forest Service. Thank you. U.S. Forest Service. You just jogged my memory. So we've got there's 4 things: U.S. Forest Service, National Park Service, BLM land, and
State parks?
And state parks. State parks are not a national. That's why I didn't think of it. But state parks. So when I got into this back in July, I looked at the list of parks, and there was only like 53 parks in Nevada. Well, Rhode Island has 100 parks. How come Nevada only has 53? So I went out and looked around to see if I could find any parks, any land in Nevada that is run by the BLM, the National Park Service, the U.S. Forest Service, or the state park entity of Nevada that aren't in this list. There must be some. And I found some 60 that weren't in the list. So I submitted them to the appropriate person in POTA. I found out who they were through that first website that we went to. And I emailed the guy and said, hey, I found some more. Are you interested in looking at these? He said, sure. And so as a result of that, he came back to me about a month later and said, we've just accepted all of these and assigned POTA entity numbers to every one of them. So now we have 113. And so that's the challenge, guys, that all of you can help with, because this is really a volunteer-driven kind of thing. If you know of historical parks, like maybe Virginia City is historical. If it's a state historical park, if it's not just a private company historical park, but it's run by the state, a state government or a federal government, then it's eligible for becoming a park. And all you have to do is get the information to the right guy that runs Nevada's mapping, and they'll get it on the air for us all.
That's fantastic. That's great. A little follow-up question. So is this correct that normally county parks and city parks are not part of it, correct? Not
QSL.
part of POTA.
QSL.
Okay, and then one other question on the Forest Service stuff. I am unaware, help me with this, what makes a Forest Service a park versus a Forest Service part of a land? You know what I mean? Because Forest Service has campsites and stuff. So what do you know what the terminology or the characteristics of a quote park on the Forest Service is, or be
Yeah. Okay, so if you go to it's very kind of hard to find this stuff.
Can you do it? Can you go there on the on your webpage?
It's going to be cumbersome. It probably would.
No
I would want to prep that.
Explain the concept. Yeah.
Okay, so let's take Humboldt-Tiobe State U.S. Forest Service parkland. It's all over the state of Nevada. You've got little pieces of Humboldt-Tiobe everywhere. If you go and so Humboldt-Tiobe has a 6-digit reference code, which says if you go anywhere within the boundaries of a Humboldt-Tiobe piece of land, you can call CQ and activate that as the Parks on the Air entity. So it's really finding the geographic boundaries of the Humboldt-Tiobe Park around here, and so you just drive up Mount Rose Highway a little ways and go in Galena. That's a Humboldt-Tiobe Park.
I see. So it doesn't have to be like a park that has like an entrance and an exit. It's more like a geographic area.
Absolutely. So a lot of these are wetlands. Stillwater is the park that I operated out just a little bit east of Fallon, and that's a park that you just drive along a country road into Nowheresville. You come to a lake and you see this most beautiful place of natural land and a lake. Anywhere you can park within that boundary of a park, you can just start calling CQ and get the points. Submit the log.
Great, thanks for that.
Yes, sir.
Who else has questions? Just come off mic and give your call sign.
W6 RJK, Rocky up in Truckee.
Hey, Rocky, welcome. Go ahead.
Hey, Rocky.
Thanks. Woody, great presentation. I had a question though. On either the SOTA or the POTA website, is there a place that you can click on that would show you like a roadmap on how to get to the summit or how to get to the park?
The answer is, gosh, I wish there was, but there isn't.
Yeah.
So where can you go? Let's see. I can tell you this, that when I was researching all these national wildland areas, I was able to find a map for every single one of them by simply going to Google Maps, bring up maps.google, and then just put in the name of that area, like Washoe State Park, and it will show you a map of it. And if you use the mapping software that is associated, that is readily available, such as that, you'll be able to find your way in. And this is also where we all work as a community. Ham Radio is the most wonderful community fraternity in the world. And if you go to and look for a park that you want to go see who is already activated. Easy to find. And once you do that, are any of these call letters that you're finding people that you already know, or maybe are local, look up their email on qrz.com, such as mine, and then just send an email out saying, hey, Woody, I'm looking to go to this park. Do you have any suggestions on how to get there? Be happy to receive those emails for SOTA or POTA.
Okay, very good. All right. Thanks very much.
Yes, sir, you're welcome.
Thanks, Woody. NS1TA Mike says some SOTA summits have GPS tracks in the .gpx. Hold on a minute. In the .gpx something or other. My screen's. Hang on. Some Mike NS1TA says some summits have GPS tracks in the .gpx format to the trail of summit. They are in either .gpx or .klml format. So that must be the like the breadcrumbs.
It is. It's the breadcrumbs. And so some guys are really diligent about this. I can't say I am, but I'm more than willing to help you in other ways. A lot of guys.
Can you bring back up?
Yeah.
Go ahead, and then I want you to bring back up something. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me what you want.
Yeah, can you just bring back up the, I don't know which page it was. Maybe it was Parks on the Air, the one that had that list, the real live one. You were explaining some interesting stuff there.
Okay. So.
Got it.
Okay. So where do we go to find a list?
Yeah, but you don't have the screen share up yet.
Okay. So,
Press that other button to get to that other screen.
Oh, brother. Okay,
Yeah,
so
just press you'll find it.
I've got to bring up this and screen share. Parks on the Air, and then share.
There you go, share, and here we go. Okay, so if you seeing it and then having you talk about it helps. You were giving an example again of you see somebody. So show us what you're talking about here.
So first of all, Barry, I just want to shout out that thank you for helping me through all this. This was the most difficult part of this presentation.
It's a team effort. No?
To operate this doggone Zoom thing. Okay, so everybody sees this. Okay, so you can see, where people are. It's a spotting page. It's the most basic one you go to. If you log in, you can get your points and all that. Now, let's take a look at the hamburger over here on the right, on the left. Park list. So you can bring up the list of parks for any entity in the world. And we first of all want to go to the United States of America. It's right there. And then we want to go to what state do we want to look for the park in. And I didn't really want to stop on that one. I wanted to, let's see if I can get down to Nevada. Nevada. Okay, so there's all the parks. And so let's take a look at something that by Fallon National Wildlife Refuge. So as far as POTA is concerned, they already have a map and you can get pretty close to it from here. So here's where it is, but the National Wildlife Refuge is probably not in the middle of Fallon. So their map isn't all that great to me. So what I would do is I would look for the name of this thing in Google Maps. So here's Stillwater. That's the one I told you I was going to, but I don't see any wildlife refuge. Oh, here it is, Humboldt State Wildlife Refuge Management Area. It's up there. It's on the 80, and there's a turnoff to it.
Right.
So if you zoom in on this, you got to click on it first, and then once you do that, you can use your dial in your mouse and you can zoom in. And so this is where you see that little yellow dot. Click on that. Humboldt State Wildlife Management Area. Okay, but how do you get to it? So I keep zooming in. And it's not, okay, there it is right there. So there's the road, Derby Field Road. And if you go on Derby Field Road, you probably can get down to here. There's Derby, West Derby Road. So maybe what you got to do is see, go. So anyway, you can see there's a little white line here, and you can follow these little white lines, and you can eventually get to, whoops, where the park is. And you'll start seeing signs that will point you to them. So that's how you do it. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to simply go to Google and put in this very name of the location, and it will come up. I guarantee you it will. Even Mountain Summits.
You had that little box that popped up that showed the name of the ID of the park. Go back to where the little red below where the little blue dot was.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back to. I'm going to go back to spot.
I want to see one thing, and that is.
Which one was it?
I don't know. When you had something in Fallon.
Okay.
Something.
It was.
Really?
Oh, wait a minute.
No, I think it was Fallon.
Yeah, I've got to bring up the map.
What I wanted to see was.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I need to. Let's just try it from here.
Okay, click on
there
that.
it is.
Oh,
Yeah, when you do that, I'm curious if it shows you. There you go. It gives you longitude and latitude right there.
Yeah.
Up
Yeah,
on the
it
left
does.
side. So you could at least take the longitude and latitude, put it in Google Maps, find it, and that gives you the center of wherever it is. Okay.
In theory, but in reality, that's not necessarily the case. When I talked to the guys at POTA, they said, because I said, there isn't any park here at Fallon. The park is it looks like it's a few miles away. And they said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to put our little marker where people can drive to. And they may not really be able to drive to the park, but they can figure out how to get to the park from there.
Yeah.
How do you like that for rationale?
It's called being approximate to get you in the.
That's right.
Yeah, I get it.
That's right. So
it was a great question. It was a great question that that Rocky W6RJK asked, which is, once you figure out where you're going and you do it, how do you actually map it? And part of the answer is you got to get in there and dink around until you can find what's going on.
Yes, kind of, sort of. The thing is, if you use Google Maps, however, and you put in the name of the park, it will give you driving directions right to it.
Assuming that the park is like a physical park, it's not a boundary area, I'm assuming.
Yeah. There's going to be variations to it all.
Right.
Whoops. So anyway, it's between the two. Try them both, and see which one gives you the best map. And when it comes to SOTA, it's not even as good as that, because oftentimes you're not going to find good maps. You're going to have to go to topo maps. And those topo maps, you're going to have to look at, maybe that there isn't even a trail to it. Maybe you're going to have to hike off trail to get to a particular place. One thing I didn't mention. Yeah, go ahead.
What did you mention?
One thing I didn't mention was you want to bring up the app on your cell phone for both POTA and SOTA. POTA spots and SOTA spots. You can just go and try to find that, and you'll, no matter whether it's a Windows phone or an Apple phone, you can find apps. And once you do that, you can use you can bring up that spot, and you can use your phone to guide you in, because it's going to tell you how far away you are from the coordinates of that summit. It's really helpful.
Yeah. Hey, Woody.
Yeah.
Now I was out there, I guess 3, maybe 4 years ago, out there beyond, right there, outside of Fernley, and there's a wetland refuge right behind Hazen, and of course you got to go through BLM land to get to it. And boy, I mean, I mean, it is a difference. I mean, and you go through BLM land and you see trash everywhere, and you go through these gates, and man, it's clean as a whistle. But but it's easy to get to, and I don't see it on the map though. You know, I mean, it's just past. Let's see. You know where that sign is between 40 Mile Desert and 80. There's a road there somewhere.
Let me see if I can, whoops, my keyboard isn't working right. I actually have to look at this thing. I see, I'm imaging that I want it to spell firmly. See if we can get anything out of it. Nope.
No.
Oh, there needs to be an E in there? Jeez.
There you go. What you got?
No, it's probably not called firmly. It's probably the entity.
Yeah, there is another name for it. I don't know what it is. So
yeah, I don't remember it either. At any rate,
the dry lake bed is what it is.
it's a dry lake bed. Is it a national U.S. Forest Service BLM type of park?
Yeah, it's U.S. Forest Service.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I would put that total name into Google Maps and see if you can get to it from there.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's, I've had good luck that way.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I know it's right behind Hazen because you can see Hazen from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, right.
Yeah. But yeah, don't go near the water. Not in the summertime. But we get mosquitoes big as wasp out there.
Yeah, I get it. Sure.
Whoa.
Yeah, or flies or whatever it is. Just
All right.
yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, you know, you can just go to a map like this and you can look for the little yellow dots for POTA sites. So, you know, we went out and we were looking for Stillwater or something out by Fallon, but here are some other summits, or not summits, but parks near us. And let's take a look at this one right here. See what it is. It's Humboldt-Tiobe National Forest. Well, awesome.
Can you click on the more info there? Okay, it brings up all the details when it's coming up.
Yeah.
There you go.
So here's a good example of the locator not being anywhere near the national, the forest. If
So it's farther south than.
well, it's
Yeah,
what they've done is they found the National Forest Service ranger station, which is in an industrial park out in East Reno. And that's all it is. There's a parking lot and a little building where the park rangers are. That's a Forest Service. That's not Humboldt-Tiobe. Humboldt-Tiobe is everywhere else. So I'm just telling you, there's an anomaly here between this. The people that did this were up in Michigan. And if it was me, I think I would be pointing out one of these green areas, which is probably where the Humboldt-Tiobe Park is. You can go to any one of those and activate. You could probably go and sit in their parking lot too, which is what this shows, and you'd get credit for it because nobody's going to challenge you on it.
I see it's got the grid on there too, and latitude.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's good. It gets you close, but not necessarily at the exact spot.
You know, I was up. If you go in Verdi, if you go to Verdi and then you go behind Verdi, Nevada, into Verdi, California.
Yeah.
And you start to go up this hill.
Yeah.
There is a big sign. I thought it said Tiobe. So, you know, it's going to be all over the place. So
all over
if you're going to be sporting, you go to where it is, wherever it is. Yeah.
So
thanks, Bob. See you.
So if you go up to Mount Rose Summit, I think you're in Tiobe, Humboldt-Tiobe Park, but you're also at Mount Rose Summit. Mount Rose Summit is a soda peak. Tiobe Park is a parks park, a POTA park. So you get credit on both of them.
Yeah. So when you have a question, when you're on the air and you're in a park for parks in the air and a soda for soda in the air, how do you CQ? What do you say, and how do you do the exchange?
So what you do is you can do either one. You can do a soda CQ. Probably you're going to be in CW if you're doing that, running a backpack rig. And so just call CQ for for SOTA. CQ, 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 usually 3 times. DE, K1LB, K1LB, K1LB. And that is going to spot you all automatically if you do it that way. So now you have your CQing for a SOTA summit, and then you can let the person know that, or what you can do is you can spot yourself in the POTA log as well, in the POTA spotting page, this POTA spotting page, and in the SOTA spotting page. And if somebody is paying attention, they'll go and see that this guy is operating from 2 parks, and they will log us appropriately.
So then do you, as an exchange, you give both exchanges? Because it's a different exchange for POTA than SOTA, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you do give both exchanges. And often they will tell you that they're a POTA, their POTA reference number and a SOTA reference number.
Yeah, got it.
Yep. Good
Hey,
question.
Woody, I'm Joe, KC7AXG.
Hi, Joe.
Thank you for that beautiful introduction. I had a question for you from the standpoint of a SOTA activator. So I looked with interest at your list of SOTA peaks within 50 miles, I guess, of Reno. And I could think of a number of peaks. You know, we have an embarrassment of riches here in Nevada. I could think about a number of peaks that would qualify as SOTA peaks, but aren't on your list. And I was wondering, can you just go up to one of them and claim it, or how do you get it registered as a SOTA peak?
Okay, so that's a really good question because it's a longer answer. So the SOTA, the SOTA peaks come to the. It has to be in the Association Reference Manual. The Association Reference Manual list of peaks comes from a list called the Lists, LISTS, of John. So if you log into the Lists of John website and you look for a prominence to sort by geographical region with a prominence of, I think it's 500 feet. It has to be 500 feet above, a saddle. That's basically what prominence means. It will show up in that list. So a couple of years ago, I was interested in updating the Association Reference Manual along with Rick, WB0USI. So we went to the SOTA management team in England through a guy here. And we said, we'd like to update this manual. And they said, okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna send you a list of all the new summits that are part of the association called W7N. And what you guys are gonna do is you're gonna put them into a spreadsheet to replace all the stuff that's there. That took us about 3 months to do. So they're in charge of it, really. They decide, management team in England are in charge of giving us the list of John that have the appropriate distance between the peak and a lower area. It has to be more than 500 feet. And we put them in the manual, and you really can't request of them that a summit that looks like it's probably a good SOTA peak. They would probably come back to you and say, if it's not in the list of John, we've already been down that road. We're not going to be able to give you credit for that. That's the reality of it. Good question though.
Yeah, it's I can think of Tule Peak, Tahakam Peak, Kamiva Peak. There's a whole list within 50 miles that have enormous prominence that weren't on your list.
Okay.
There, so.
Get with me on the side, Joe. I'd be happy to bring that up to the team, to the management team.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to. So yeah, just go to qrz.com and you'll see my email address.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir. And that goes for everybody else. If you have any other questions that relate to, you want to get to a specific location, you're not really sure how to get there. It looks like it might be on private land. Can you legally activate it if it is, etc. There's a lot of things that we didn't cover here today that are relevant, important, and I can certainly work with you if you want to go and do a joint summit. SOTA Peak, I'd be happy to join you, or POTA Peak, anytime.
Hey, Woody,
Yes, sir.
how's your schedule looking next couple months?
Wide open. I'm retired, man.
Okay, well, there you go. Yeah, because I know they're gonna, when we start having the meetings, they're gonna call you back for a demo on some stuff. I'm
Yeah.
sure. You know,
It's pretty hard to just for somebody that's looking at this relatively quick presentation and go from there to an activation
right?
profile. So yeah, I mean, we could certainly hold an activity at one of the parks, or one of the local parks around here, and just have a meetup. And I can show you my SOTA stuff, set it up for you, show you my POTA stuff, set it up for you, make some contacts, let everybody see the bonus of being away from power lines and residences to have a noise-free environment to operate in for a change.
Oh yeah, gotta love solar, man. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Wes. That's great. But yes, I'm wide open to any suggestions on getting together either individually or as a group.
Yeah, warmer weather would be most appreciated.
My fingertips start turning white below 50 degrees. So that keeps me off SOTA summits for the most part
There you
during the
go.
winter months. And
Right.
that's only occurred in the last 4 or
That's why I
5
think we're looking, ideally, unless it gets a lot warmer sooner, something in May or so.
Yeah.
There's some nice days that happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm looking forward to getting out there again.
Yeah. I do POTA. When I thumb the bands, I hear a POTA, I jump in there and give him a contact.
Yeah.
But then I log the contact so he has something to reference.
Yes.
And of course, SOTA, I says, I only think I talked to 2 SOTA boys, and ever since I've talked, but QRP, I hear someone say QRP.
Yeah.
Well, I'm on top of that. I mean, I give him a chance, give him a contact. He's struggling, man. I mean, if he makes a contact just on voice and they're not, within an hour, he's doing good.
Yes.
So
Exactly. Well, you need to, if you're going to operate as SOTA chaser from home, you've got to have a low noise environment to be able to do it, because these guys, though they're S5s, S6s, S7s, sometimes S9s, they're more than likely much lower than that. And your home QTH often has too much QRN to be able to effectively communicate. So what I do is I take my SOTA equipment and I go up to what is it? I want to think of it, I can't. It's right up on Mount Rose Highway, where the commercial antenna site is as you're going up the road.
yeah, I've seen it.
You can drive right up to that. That's
You're talking about the park up there in the summer?
the summit.
Are you talking about the rest area?
I'm talking about the Summit on the Air location that is part of Steamboat. It's called Steamboat.
Yeah.
Steamboat.
Think of it either.
Steamboat Summit.
Yeah.
But the good deal is, if you've got a 4-wheel drive vehicle, you can drive right up there, because the maintenance trucks certainly do. And the summit is just a little bit of a hike above that. But what I'll do on a given day, I'll just go up and if I want to be a chaser, I'll go up and sit there and pull out my antenna stuff, my KX2. I have no noise, and now I can operate in a much more cleaner environment than from home, and I can talk to a whole lot more guys.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's about. Yeah, getting rid of the noise, and as well as developing skills to be an effective field day operator.
Right.
By operating in a world of tons of guys calling at you, pilots.
That's it.
many more
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Barry.
Okay, thanks, Wes. Woody, how many? Give us an idea of the percentage between phone, not even FM versus high band, but just phone versus CW versus digital. Give us a ballpark idea of what you think of the percentages for each of those.
Okay.
On POTA versus SOTA.
Okay.
And do it if you can do it by mode back and forth. It'd be really interesting.
Okay. So you're probably not seeing my POTA page right now, are you?
No, we're seeing the
Logging.
the POTA.app. Yeah, we are doing it. Parks in the Air. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So here are the current guys that are calling CQ at this very moment. And look over on the left here, and you'll see what mode they're operating.
CW.
So the frequency.
CW, FT4, FT8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have
some others that I assume are phone if it doesn't say farther down 14235.
What I'm going to do is pull out. So here are all the frequencies. Starting out with 40 meters, 30 meters, 20 meters, etc.
Somebody's on 6 meters too. I saw one.
Okay.
Oh, and it's not, and it can be the work bands too. I see.
Yeah, it can be the work bands. Yeah, because this is not a contest. Yeah. So you see, about 10 CW guys in the morning. You'll see CW. You'll see about 8 FT8s, and then you'll see
a lot of phone.
Scrolling down. So there's just a huge number. How many total do we have? You can see up at the top here that we have 67.
You got about 2, 3, 4, 5, under 10 CW, maybe 12.
Yeah.
And maybe about another 10 or so FT8 or data.
Yeah.
All the rest are phone. Okay.
All the rest.
So more phone for POTA. How about on SOTA? More CW?
Probably? The switch is just around the other way. So most of them are CW with very few phone. And the fact is that 10 or 5 watts on phone don't get you very far. It's just too broad a bandwidth for that narrow amount of power that you've got spread out over the bandwidth of sideband. It's too wide. So everybody focuses on either digital, which is a narrow bandwidth, or CW, which is a narrow bandwidth. And so 90%, 80% are CW on SOTA, and a few are on digital, but very few because they don't carry a laptop or a computer device to generate FT8 up with them. And a few will operate sideband, especially people that are new to SOTA that don't know Morse code. They'll try sideband and they'll be effective. All you have to do is work 4 stations. So if you can work 4 stations with sideband, you now have officially registered the peak, activated the peak, and you've gotten the points for it, the 8 points or whatever is an activator.
On SOTA.
On SOTA.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's a guy. Scroll down about 5 more to where it says you got to move your cursor. The one that says also SOTA, which is the 3rd from the bottom.
There you go. There you go.
So that's interesting. So he's a POTA, but he's saying he's also SOTA.
Yeah. And you can do that in the comments field for a SOTA spot as well. You can put in there that also POTA.
These are people.
Go ahead.
I just want to get clear on one thing. These are live spots, or these are is these live spots who are on the air? Is that what it's saying right now?
Yes, it is, because the button that's been pushed here is the spots button. If I push the activations button, then I'll go to the list of people who are planning to be on the air, but are not there yet.
Yeah, going back to the spots, are these spots stay within the POTA or the SOTA systems, or do they also go out on the regular DX clusters? Do you know?
I don't know. I haven't looked into that to know that.
Yeah, you had a question, Wes. Go ahead.
Well, I just wondered. It says on the SOTA's got this too, right? Yeah. I wonder if you go to SOTA, if you would see Derek out there.
Oh, is he out there today?
I don't know. This is because he's not here. Usually he's here.
Yeah. So let's see. Let me see if I can figure out how to Okay. There must be a tab that's open. Let me do. Soda Watch. If I spell that properly, I didn't.
Mhm.
At least my keyboard didn't spell it right.
Hmm.
Okay, so here is my spot page for soda today, right here and now. And the same equivalent thing for activations, alerts, is the alert page. And this shows you who is planning to be out there. And so, and here the time is probably around 1800 Zulu. So let's go to
We're
18.
at 16, 17, 18. We're at about 18, 19, 1800, 18, 19,
Yeah,
18,
1820.
So let's
Yeah.
see if
He didn't register today for today. Derek did not register for today's call.
so here's Jamie. He's out of South Lake Tahoe, and he's
Yeah,
the
right.
assistant association manager for the W6 area. And he is a really strong young guy that does all kinds of crazy, wild things.
Where does he say, which peak is he on? That he said he was going to be on? CV017. Click on the W, go up a little. Click on the W, his call sign, or you got to go up.
I got to go up. Yeah, I'm just not
Yeah,
seeing it.
you find Jamie again, then click
Yeah, there
on
he
the W.
Yeah, W
yeah, click on
W6
that.
CV. Yeah.
Where is that?
So CV, I've never worked in the CV area. Region.
Central Valley.
Central Valley. So he's in the Central Valley. He usually works in the NS area, Northern Sierra, which is where I usually go. And that's where Eric June was the first regional for that region.
Yeah. Okay.
But this is what a lot of guys do, you know, asking about where can I find information on how to get there? Look at this area down here. This is where people who have activated this before have put in information about in their activation report how to get there. So look here first is one of the first resources. And you'll see that, you know, what they did and how they did it. AA6XA is very big in this area. So he probably lives over in that area. But at any rate, and here's the soda. The way that you normally do this, if you want to activate a soda peak, you come over here, navigate like we did to this page and click on soda maps. And this gives you a topo. And there it is. So it's a 1 point peak. And I'm going to click on center and zoom in a little tighter, a little tighter, a little tighter, a little tighter, a little tighter. Okay. So
Somewhere near Vacaville.
yeah. So Paradise Valley Golf Course. So it's in this region here, and I'm going to get rid of this so I can see if there are any roads or trails. So this is not a real detailed topo map, but it kind of gives you an idea as to where it is. And then you can go to other topo maps at your disposal and look even further. But, oh, look, there is a road in here. There is.
It sure is.
This is a drive up. Hey. Okay. So if I start at Sharky's Chicken and Fish, I can just drive right up this road. And there may be a gate. You don't know how far it is. I always advise on the day of activation, you don't know how close you're going to get. You know, how is the roads condition, snow, gates, and whatever. So it's always a good idea to do a pre activation scouting, just like you would with a hiking to a summit. Scout it first and see what the challenges are. And then make yourself a little map, a little page, word page that has this map on it, and then the directions and information that you have as far as the directions to get to the trailhead and the directions from the trailhead to the summit. That will buy you a lot. That will buy you a lot of safety. And this is a dangerous sport from the standpoint of, you know, you could get lost. You could be.
I've been there. California State Prison. I delivered there one time.
Ah,
as a truck driver. I go, I know the area. I says, man, I saw that. I go, I recognize Peabody Road. I go,
Yeah.
I just one that showed right in front of me, right there.
I'll tell you, I got lost once on the a summit near. Anyway, I'll just tell you the story. I had gone up to this summit numerous times, and when I was coming back, I took the wrong road. Just wasn't paying attention, and I found myself in unfamiliar territory, and I really didn't know where I was. So I took out my cell phone and I looked at where is the summit, and it will tell you what direction it's in and how far you are from it. And I just used that to get back towards the summit, and then I came to the junction that I mistook, and I went back down the right way. But it's easy to do if you're not paying attention or whatever.
We know that, huh, Barry?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm curious if where we went west was maybe a soda. We went up to in Sierra County, went up to Border Town, and then we looped back up, and we went up a big hill below Peavine, maybe east, maybe southeast of Peavine to a scouting get together.
Yeah.
Do you remember the nomenclature of it? Was it in Nevada?
No, it's in California.
It was in California. Yeah.
Okay, so it's in California, and
But we didn't go there. We did that for scout stuff. We didn't look to see if it was a soda or not. We can tell you how to get there. Go. Can you scroll out back on the map and go up to like Reno area?
Yeah. I wouldn't take your Porsche.
yeah. Let's see. Over this way.
You got to go scoot up to the right now. You got to go north. I mean east.
You gotta go east, yeah.
Got to go to the right. To the right. Means you got to grab. Yeah, there we go. Keep going. You got to get all the way back up to Reno.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now go north. Keep going. Get up to high 80.
Okay.
Okay.
So
you go a little higher. Go a little higher. Get to Reno. Go a little bit to the right.
Let's see. I put on my glasses. I might have better look.
Go up north. Okay, so if you look at going, scroll in a little around where it says northeast Reno.
It's going to go northwest.
Northwest Reno, right in here.
No. Where it says Sun Valley, northeast Reno, where it says Sun Valley, around that area. You scroll in a little bit.
Northeast Reno. Okay, you're up there.
You zoom in a little bit is what I'm trying to say. Okay, now go to the left a little bit.
Up 395?
You got to go north up to that next. Go up a little farther. Go farther, a little farther, a little farther, a little farther. Keep going. It's before the Walmart. It's past the Walmart. Okay, so you see past the zoo. It's where California and Nevada come together, a little farther north.
Okay, so it's past Silver Lake, right there.
Okay,
so right at
somewhere around there, you turn left. It's probably up by that 395 sign.
Yeah, exactly. That's where it's at.
You turn left up by that. Okay, you turn left and you loop. Now go to the left. Yep. And then maybe a little bit down a little bit. So somewhere up in that hills is where we were.
Yeah. Well, if we brought up, the thing is, what I have found about this range along here, from Hallelujah Junction, you can go in on the 70 and get to the same range, and there's homes up there, and everybody has a no trespassing sign.
Yeah, but that's not. Yeah, that's not where we're talking. We're not that far up. But anyway, we're up in the Sierra Valley somewhere. So
Yeah. See if you go.
Thanks, Joe. 73.
So it looks like it may be.
Maybe one of those mountains around there. I don't know exactly. We'd have to look in more detail, but
so this is probably Northern Sierra, the NS. So choose a summit, Central Valley. So NS. Okay, and so there's all the summits you get with NS. It's fantastic.
Wow.
Fantastic. And so now let's go up to Cold Springs.
Past Cold Springs is north of there.
Yeah.
Then you come back.
So there's Hallelujah Junction. Yeah.
No, not that far, not that far. Go to where the California border is right there on the right.
Yeah.
Okay, stop.
Right there.
So
Yeah, that's might be no.
yeah, it might have actually been up at this, not Babbitt Peak. What's the 132 there below? I can't see what this is underneath.
132 is Babbitt Peak. Babbitt Peak is a drive up. This
I know
is
Babbitt, but what's that? What's that thing that's below 132? Not where Babbitt is. What does it say? Something state what? What does it say? Right under where it says 132.
A state.
132.
It's
Park. State Peak, Castle Peak. Okay.
Crystal Peak.
It's not Babbitt. That part I know. So
I bet you it is Castle Peak. I bet you.
I know,
Crystal
but I don't think we're on Castle.
Look
At any
up.
rate, we get the idea.
Yeah. It would.
So yeah, it's pretty much due west of Peavine.
Mhm. It's out there about.
Yeah, I think we weren't that far. I think we are farther.
So
I think we are a little farther north, north and east, somewhere in there, somewhere in one of those.
well, that one
what
there.
is 242?
Yeah, 242 is. Let's see.
Could have been up there. Hard to tell. I can't tell.
Yeah. So I've got
But at any rate,
to go over to this list here and go down to what is 242, and it is 242 is not a named peak. It's just an elevation that determines the name of
that
it.
probably
706,
does that mean it's never been activated or not?
and it's never been activated. And
And that
an
probably
awful
means
lot of
it's hard
peaks.
to get. Probably means it's hard to get to.
It means that it's probably impossible to get to. That's right. Or at least it's so hard to get to that it's just not worth the time and effort.
Right. I do have a SOTA question about this. I thought you said you can only do one per year, but that doesn't make sense because I thought you could do it in the winter and summer.
Okay, yeah, you can if you do it at the junction of the 1 year to the next. So what a lot of guys do is go up in November or December, or whenever before up to December 31st, and activate it, and then go back in there January, sometime between January and the end of March, and activate it again. That's how you do it.
Okay, I need you to just repeat what you said because I lost you when you said November and
Okay.
say this again. So is it the calendar year? Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
It's by calendar year. So anytime in
Oh, I see. So
2021.
you go in 2021 in the calendar year in November and you do, or December, and you do winter, and then you go into 2022, the following calendar year, into summer.
Right. Or
You can only work them one. You can only activate it once per
calendar year.
under that one call sign.
So what you can do is you can do a little hike with your snowshoes up there on December 31st, and then stay overnight in your winter sleeping bag,
Right.
and do January
Yeah.
1. Okay,
So it's kind of like the POTA from one day to the next day, but it's from
that's
1 year to
right.
the
Same
next.
thing.
How many more activators, percentage of activators do you think? Well, not different people, but activations is a better word for POTA than SOTA. I'm assuming a much bigger number because it's not as hard to get to, and you can do it more than once a year.
Well, that's the thing. You can, there's one guy that operates a RV, and he does FT8. He lives out in Mesquite, and he stays in the mountains 24/7, 365, and just keeps operating. He was the POTA world leader for QSOs in 2021. So, yeah, because you can operate every day the same part. You can just stay put. Yeah, campground or whatever.
Must be nice not to have a job and just sit there and play.
Yeah, with an antenna farm. He's got poles up
There
in the
you go.
air, and it's unbelievable. It's CAR, K7 CAR, I believe is it's called, and he is prolific to say the least in POTA. And he spends a lot of time in these parks around here too. Good guy.
Mm.
But you know, if you want to get into soda, you're going to find that you get more bang for your buck by going into the NS W6NS area to activate. You get for a lower peak, you get more points than you do in Nevada. So in other words, an 8,000 foot peak in Nevada, I'm just going to give you a made up number, might be worth 4 points. Whereas in California, a made up number might be 8 points. Or in New Mexico, it might be worth 10 points.
That inflation, what?
It's the way they do it, man. It's just the way they do it. And Rick and I spent probably a month trying to get some peaks, get our table of summit elevations updated to be more like New Mexico, because they're very generous compared to us. And so the answer was no, hell no, we're not going to do that, because what they do is they take the whole state and they put all the summits together, all of our 3,200 summits, and they put them all into a bell curve. And so it has to fit the bell curve. And it doesn't fit the bell curve as well here because they have as many high points as they do low points in New Mexico. Whereas here, they don't. The bell curve is skewed because of the ratio of high versus low summits. So therefore we get the end of the stick. Whereas in New Mexico, if you really want to get a lot of points to get your GOAT activation award, go to New Mexico and Arizona, hang out for a couple months in your RV, and you'll get there. So it's not about just the points. It's about the fun of doing this, and it has to go beyond that. Colorado is probably the worst case of having to hike long distances for a small number of points. But there are more SOTA activators in Colorado probably than anywhere else. So,
do they use like in where they have the buttes? Is that considered a peak?
is it considered a what?
A peak, you know what I mean?
Peak.
They got these tall buttes out there. Is those
Yeah.
considered peaks or what?
Yeah, along the 49, out at there's a lookout on the Northern Buttes, I think it's called. It's just south of Portola, and so yes, that there's a stairway going up from the parking lot to the actual summit lookout tower. And I don't like heights, so I've never been up there, and I never will go up there.
Yeah.
But that is a peak. That's a SOTA peak.
Gotcha.
I don't know where you'd put your antenna other than hanging it over the railing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the thing is, one great thing about where we live is this is a great place for SOTA because we have thousands and thousands of peaks in Nevada and then thousands and thousands in California. You don't have to go far. Our friend Gary, K7ORG, who was a SNARS member, he's since retired from school teaching and he's moved to Illinois. He has to go a tremendous distance in order to get to a SOTA peak.
Yeah, there ain't nothing that I'm from that area.
So, but as he has turned his sights to POTA, and he's a prolific POTA operator. So he's having a lot of fun with his hamming out in the outdoors.
Well, they got some good summers, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's a neat part of the hobby. I have to tell you, SOTA is a very close community of worldwide hams that we haven't seen in any other system or activity, ham activity, if you will. Recently, we had a silent key happen of one of the very, very prolific SOTA operators. And on their blog, everybody was coming in from all over the world and giving their condolences to the family. Everybody is just so tight in soda.
Yeah.
You know, you KX0I R George is on the air almost every day from Colorado. Everybody knows him, and he's so willing to help people.
Well, that's what it's all about, helping, whatever, whatever you do, it's by helping them.
Exactly, it is.
Yeah.
It is. We're a tight community, and we care about all of our hams, no matter what they operate, what bands, what modes, doesn't matter.
Yep. Mundo. Well, I think I'm going to beg. Thank you there, Woody. You got a lot. Thank you. Very good, very great, great presentation. You really
Thank
is.
you. I appreciate that. And
And-
Barry, I thank you.
And yeah, we're gonna be looking.
My
you up.
pleasure.
And I'm going to be looking forward to the next version 2 of this. So this was version 1.
You bet. Barry, take care, gentlemen. Take care. I got things I got to do.
So long, guys.
You bet.
Okay, sounds good. I think we're just at the end of this. Any pressing questions from anybody before we end this?
Well, I still had a sort of question.
Okay.
You were kind of implying that anywhere on BLM or Forest Service, you could set up a POTA site. Does that mean you can just take a big chunk of land up on Winnemucca Lake and call it's BLM land, or would it be something, could you use, say, the old Pony Express station down by Fort Churchill, 20 miles east of there? Would those be their federal land? One would not have any history and one would. Would those in any way go into the parks?
Okay, that's a good question, Bill, because how exactly does it work? Well, it works this way. First of all, the POTA organization, the POTA group of guys that put all this together, said that they're going to use parks that are either run by state entities or parks that are run by federal entities. And they will add them to a list. First of all, if you want to get an area registered as an official POTA park that's going to appear in their list, you have to submit it to the state manager, who's a W8 guy up in Michigan. And he will look at it and see if it meets the criteria. And if it does, he'll have it added to the website list of POTA parks for Nevada. And then you can go to that park, and as long as you're within the boundaries, geographic boundaries of that park, you can set up your station and operate. So it doesn't have to be at a specific entrance point or campground or a picnic table. It could be on any road or place that you hike into that's within that geographic boundaries. But you can't pick it. It has to be picked by the POTA people, and it has to be on the list. And it has, therefore, will have a 6-digit K-1234 number.
Well, thanks much. I kind of misunderstood on federal or BLM land or government land. So
Yeah.
it has to be a designated park that is in the parks list. Okay,
Yeah,
so that cleared that up.
They will figure that out. But the thing is, as a volunteer ham, if you find something that you think, well, look, it says here it's a national wildlife refuge. You go and look it up in the parks list now that you know where it is, and you see if it's there. And if it's not, you wonder why not, and you make contact with the person that's responsible in the POTA organization for Nevada, and I can help you go back to that at a later point if you want to contact me, and I'll show you how you can do that, and maybe that will be added. But
I guess on my Winnemucca Lake thing, there actually are some mines up there, and I think I read somewhere there was mines on the air also now.
if they're national, if they're a nationally owned entity, managed entity, then that at least meets one criteria, and it's worth looking at.
There's probably the other organization, Mines on the Air, and they're usually actually private because they've usually been patented. But I'm just curious.
Yeah, that's probably the case. But you never know. There might be some, defunct mines that are now open to the public as museum places. and they're run by BLM, for example, and we don't know about them, you know, but maybe people like yourself that have come across something like this would want to ask that question. Let me know if you do, and I'll help you.
Okay, one more quick one. Any recommendations for an antenna like you run? Just build
Yeah,
your own?
I really like the end-fed half wave. Excuse me. The end-fed half wave is a easy home buildable antenna, and my experience is that it works so great. And you know, I use this antenna on SOTA activations since 2014, and I just got into POTA in 2021. But I used it on SOTA activations with my backpack ham radio kit using a KX2 10-watt rig. And I would go to Summit sites that are on the Summit on the Air webpage. And sometimes I would have the antenna pushed up the full height of my 30-foot pole. In other cases, there was so much foliage around from trees, I couldn't get it up that high. In one of those events, it was probably 3 p.m, I called CQ from Markleyville, and I got a guy in New Zealand calling me back. And he gave me an S1, a 119 report. And I gave him the same. But he obviously was in a low noise environment, and so was I. And that little wire antenna did the job, and it wasn't even, it was probably 20 feet off the ground.
Well, do you wind your own 49-to-1 or buy them, or?
I wind them.
You do wind them?
Yeah, I wind them, and I think it's QRP guys have a little kit for a QRP 49. It's not 49-to-1, it's 64-to-1. And I bought that thing before. That kit comes with a little box. You got to drill holes in it. It comes with the core and the wire and the connectors and everything. And I make it, I just wind it as a 49-to-1 instead of a 64-to-1, because an inverted L antenna, an inverted L that's resonant on 40 meters has an impedance that's lower. Instead of 3,000 ohms, it's more down like 2,500 ohms. So therefore you need a 49-to-1 to match it to a 50 ohm coax. It's easy to do. You want some assistance with that, let me know.
Well, I'm running mostly inverted V's because they have such a wide band coverage, but to get out, it would be a whole lot easier to run out a single wire than try to throw up a big inverted V with all that ladder line that just makes it too big an antenna.
That's exactly the problem with dipole, center-fed dipoles or off-center fed dipoles. They have a coax that you have to support. That's a long coax. That's, you know, a 25-foot pole is 25 foot of coax. And then you get it over to the rig, so you're carrying a lot of coax with you. And that's heavy. And a lightweight fishing pole type of, you know, pole that we use just won't support it. So get rid of the coax along the length of the wire and put it down at the end. Now you have an end fed. It's the same length wire. It's exactly the same wire as what you're using now. You just solder the pieces together that make the two parts, and you put the, I put a banana plug at that one end, and I plug that into my little box that has the anon inside of it, and then I run a short piece of real 1/8 inch coax over to the rig, 20 feet, 10 feet, something like that. It's fast to put up, and it doesn't put stress on the pole. Or if you're going to put it over a branch, it doesn't weigh down the branch. And it's fast to install. That's the best part of end-fed half-wave. The other type of end-fed antenna is end-fed long wire, which means it's not resonant. Therefore, it's not 64 feet or 32 feet or 130 feet. It's something in between that. It might be just a 25-foot piece of wire. It's a non-resonant wire, but you need a ground wire as well. So I go out and do SOTAs with Rick, WB0 USI. He uses an end-fed long wire. He'll be sitting down range and I'll be using an end-fed half wire. When we get done with our activation, we compare logs. We've talked to the same people with the same signal reports, roughly. So it doesn't matter. You know, an end-fed antenna is going to work so good for you and so easy to put up and not require a coax or antenna feed line running down from the middle of the wire.
Well, do you run different length wires for the different bands, or?
Don't need to. With an end-fed half wave, it's resonant on many different bands. You know, it's resonant, first of all, using an antenna bridge and make it resonant on 40 meters, on the low end of 40 meters for CW. And then check it out on 20 meters. Hey, it's still resonant. Check it out on 15 meters and 10 meters. It's still resonant. So you don't need to have, you know, anything but one piece of wire to use in all bands. Now a KX2 does have an antenna tuner in it. And so that peaks it up a little bit from, you know, a 2-to-1 or a 1.8 to 1 or whatever, say on 15 meters down to 1-to-1. So you get a perfect match. But it's an all band antenna. It's fast to put up. It's very light. It's easy to build yourself. It's cheap. I can't think of many more platitudes to talk about for that kind of an antenna. And that's one thing that we could do as a group, Barry, if you would want to, is to have a building party of 49-to-1 balance. And I've got a spool of number 24 wire, or it's 22 or 24 Teflon, which I'll never use in my lifetime. I volunteer it. Anybody needs a 66-foot length to get started with for their end-fed wire, let me know.
Well, I probably have the wire, but I'm going to have to figure out the Hunan somehow. Every time I've looked on YouTube trying to figure out how to turn those, I've just kind of come up blank. And
I know. Yeah. Do you think I did it right the first time, or the second, or the third?
So you have the coax coming into it, and then you have one wire or two wires coming out of your.
I have one wire.
How do you wire towards the antenna?
I have one wire going out to the end of the antenna, one end of that 66-foot wire. So it's right near the ground. I have, you know, if I have a 30-foot pole, I have 30 feet of wire, 32 feet of wire coming down from the connection point at the top of that pole. And then, so the connection point down at the bottom is not right at the base of the pole. It's about 8 feet out from the base of the pole. And I have a banana jack, banana plug in at that end. And so I string the wire up, push up the pole, go attach my balun to it. It's got a banana jack in the box. So there's one connection, and the other connection is a 1/8 inch coax that runs inside the box and is soldered to the primary windings of the Unan. And that just runs over with a BNC going into my rig.
Well, I'm going to have to get busy and build something. Oh, because I have a KX3 and a 991, so they can both run all that, and they have tuners, but
yeah,
got to build another antenna or buy one.
Well, you can certainly build one easy, and you know, give me a shout out on my email address, and I'll give you more details.
Oh, so your email was at?
It just go to qrz.com and look up K1. Kilowatt 1 Lima Bravo.
K1 LB, haha. Because half the reason I ended up with these radios and all was out four-wheeling and all for maybe emergency communication. And then we were going to do all the SOTA stuff. And a couple of things happen and we just never have, but we have the radios for it, the batteries for it. So I should get out and do it.
You know, those radios are just screaming at you to get on the air.
Well, yeah, the only thing we use the KX3 for is chase down an electric fence that was
Yeah.
massively interfering on the real HF bands.
When you live out in cow country, man, that's going to be your,
I'm
yeah.
out 5-10 miles northwest of Stead,
Okay.
out off Red Rock Road.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you
Yeah.
probably knew Richard that lived out here with his huge antenna farm. who has
I
since
never
moved.
met the guy.
Hmm?
Never met the guy.
Well, it's pretty
You're not
obvious
talking
place.
about me, I'm sure. I'm really antenna impaired.
Wow. I've seen some impressive arrays that I've, you know, envied, to say the least. But
Well, what's sad about this one moving is the red-tailed hawks used to love to sit on top of the antenna. So sitting here eating breakfast or something, we got to
Yeah.
watch the red-tail on
Yeah.
top of his great big antenna.
Well,
I'm going to give a 5-minute warning. We've been on about an hour and 40 minutes, which
Yeah.
is good. So at 11 o'clock, I'm going to want to end it. So you get
Sure.
5 minutes, just a heads up.
okay.
Okay,
Not
so
that
I'll
any
let
of us
you go.
Not that any of us are long-winded, Barry.
There's a lot of good information to share today. It'll be on the recording. Anything you think you want to say in summary to this great hour and 40-minute conversation with the Q&A?
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you, Barry, and again, Brian, for giving me this opportunity to share my passions to an astounding club like SNARS. And I want to just say it's not only fun, a fun reason to do Hammond in the great outdoors. It's a reason to get experienced in the art and skill of operating ham radio in emergency communications, which is one of the reasons we do the 8RRL field day. But operating field day one day a year doesn't have enough longevity to that skill development that POTA and SOTA will get you. So I just promote it as a real great way to get really skilled for emergency times that we might have down the road. And I look forward to seeing the list of POTA and SOTA activators and chasers grow in the respective log files that I look at every day. Thanks very much for joining me today in this fun.
Okay, really good. So this completes the Q&A session for today's after the presentation of Parks in the Air and Summits on the Air with K1LB. This is Case Success. You've been your host, and we'll get this recording onto YouTube for SNARS. Thanks.